Look at that. It's beautiful outside. Sun is shining. That thing is ready to go away. We're going to talk about what might possibly be the most important piece of information you can have going into this lawn care season. There's so much information out there and so many guys telling you need to do this before the season starts, you need to do that. I've even made videos like that telling you about making sure that equipment is ready to go, making sure your trucks are ready to go, making sure everything is in place for you to kick off this season. But there's one thing that I believe might be 10 times more important than any other thing you've ever heard across YouTube or social media about getting your season kicked off. And I'm going to go over it with you right now.
I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Now people talk about, I've talked about it, Johnny Mow talked about it. Johnny Mow probably covers it better than anybody about knowing your numbers and knowing what you're bringing in every month and what's going out, to know where you're sitting and whether you need to be charging more, whether you need to be saving more, how much more you need to be putting away for that winter fund. But let's just be honest. None of that matters if you're not making the money and you don't have the customers, or you don't have them the right way. By the right way, I mean route density. And route density is huge. It does not matter if you have a big company, a smaller company, or if you're just starting off. It is imperative to any amount of success you will have in your business. The more you drive from house to house to house, the more money you're wasting in fuel. The more money you're wasting paying employees, if you have employees, even if it's just one employee, you're pissing away money because it's non-billable time. Truck time is non-billable time, okay? If I'm doing a landscape job and I know that landscape job is going to take me 4 hours to do, but it's going to take me an hour between loading everything up, going to get mulch or whatever I need, getting to the job, and then going cleaning up at the end of that job, loading everything back in the truck, coming home and unloading it. That's 2 extra hours. I'm billing that job out for 6 hours. So even that truck time, an hour in the beginning, an hour in the end, that is what I would say billable time. But when you're out mowing lawns and you're driving from house to house, it's kind of hard to figure that in. And there are ways, and that's something we can discuss way later, that you can kind of figure that in. But for the most part, that's non-billable time. Okay, you're losing money in that time and you're wasting fuel driving. Now, you guys know my setup, you know my trucks, you know my equipment. So we'll just take the dually. That dually with that 454 big block, 4L80 transmission, and 456 gears in the rear end, that thing will pull down a house, but it will not pass a gas station. That's just the way it is. And there's much more efficient ways that I can go. There's other trucks that I could buy, but I need that truck for many reasons, and it's just the way it is, so I make it work to my advantage. Now that truck is weird. It'll get 9 to 10 miles a gallon whether I'm pulling a trailer or not. It's just the way it is, so I don't romp on it to burn any more fuel. But the reason that I have made so much money being a solo guy, and a lot of people think about this because there's a lot of guys that have downsized their companies back to solo for many reasons, is you need to be able to make the most amount of money in a certain block of time. No matter how many hours you have blocked out to mow for that day, whether it's 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever your block is, you need to squeeze as much into that block as you possibly can. So driving around, doing one house and driving 3-4 miles to another house, 3-4 miles to another house, you're not making the potential that you could be making. That's where route density comes in. Now I go on, like my routes are so tight knit, and they even needed room for improvement at the end of last year because I picked up a few new lawns and I kind of had to squeeze them in wherever I had time because certain days were already booked up. Even though these new houses were in those same towns, I was already in one day. I just couldn't put it on that day. I couldn't fit any more there, so I had to just throw it wherever. So going into this season, I redid all my routes again, as I've talked about before, and I made it even tighter. Now when I go onto a certain street, I will park that truck and I'll do 3, 4, sometimes 5 houses without having to move that truck. I just go from one to the next. Okay, that's route density. I'm making the most money I could possibly make in that given time. Some places I'll mow 2, 3 houses in a row, and then I'll drive 2 streets over and then do 2 or 3 more, or even 4 more in that same area. And that's what I do. I have very few properties where I actually have one and I gotta drive a few miles to do another one and a few miles to do another one. Some I have like that. It's just the way they're laid out, and there's really nothing I can do about that other than dumping those off. But that brings me to the solo guy, or the newer guy just starting off. Not so much being solo, but the newer guy just starting off. That's where route density comes into a problem. And we've all faced this starting off, and I faced this starting off. And had I known now, or had I known then what I know now, I could have fixed that to a percentage back then. Okay, you can't always completely wipe that out, but I could have fixed it in a big way and really helped myself out. So that's why I'm giving you guys this information, that I watch everyone's videos that I can, and I really haven't heard this discussed anywhere. This is what I would do if I was back when my first years of business started off. If I knew then what I know now, this is what I would have done different. I would have taken any one of them houses. Okay, I pull onto a street and I'm mowing a house. You guys know I don't do flyers. I can't stand flyers. I am huge against flyers. But door hangers are a great thing, or little postcards that are colored. They look nice, they're professional. Little postcards or door hangers. If I had known then what I know now, I would have kept stacks of those in my truck. And then when I get done mowing this one house, I'd have gone to like 4 or 5 houses in each direction and across the street to each direction, go 5 houses each way and stick them in their doors. Not their mailboxes, you know I don't believe in that, but I'd have stuck them door hangers on their door handle or stuck the postcards in their doors and just hit 4 or 5 houses each side. Okay, they're gonna get home and they're gonna see that, and they're gonna think, oh, I've seen that name before. Oh yeah, they mow so-and-so's lawn. I see their truck out there all the time. That's where, as I described before, that my biggest marketing, biggest advertising has always been for making my trucks and trailers look like billboards. Okay, they see that name. So when they see that in their door, they remember seeing your truck there, and they look over and be like, you know what, that lawn always looks fantastic. They always do a really good job over there. So you know what, maybe I will consider them, but you're covering those right in that area. Then when you drive, because when you're first starting off, you got to take whatever you can get, and they're going to be spread out. You're almost never going to land right off the bat in an area where you're going to have that route density to have that many houses in the same spot where you don't have to drive that much. So you got to take whatever you can get. So you took care of that one. Drive to your next house. It's in another neighborhood or on another street. When you're done with that one, go hit those 5 houses in each direction across the street. Hit 5 or hit 10 of them if you want, depending on how much time you have. But if you have a helper, or you have one person helping you, that's a great time to do it, because once you get done, say you're mowing and they're weed whacking, when it's done and they're blowing everything off, you could be hitting those houses, or you're blowing everything off and they could be hitting those houses for you. Keep a stack of them in your truck. And you're not going to pick up every single one of them, but you'll find that you're going to pick up a whole bunch, and people are going to see that, and that's going to create your route density for you. That's going to tighten things up. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. It never does. It takes time, but this is a big way to really help you out and to really get you that jump start on creating that route density. Now, what I did over the years was, as I started getting more and more, and I built mine up, I would start taking the ones that I got close to ones I already did, and I would dump off the furthest away ones. And now I'm tight. Like I'm all the towns in my area are real close to each other, and I only service 1, 2, 3. I service 4 towns, and I would say I'm more geared towards 3 of them, where I do the bulk of everything I do, and none of it's more than 10 miles from my house. Most of it's a lot closer than that. I've done the same thing with plowing snow. A lot of people ask me, they know I do 1 small parking lot and 52 driveways. How do I do all that in 4 hours, 1 guy, 1 truck? Because, and I've showed this in video before, I pull onto a street and I'll hit 7, 8 houses in a row. Bam, 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 and plow all those driveways and then go to the next street. Now another 4 or 5 in a row, bam, bam, bam. And none of them are more than like 3 miles from my house as far as my plow route goes. Now I have a few that are out there ways, and I just save them for the end of the route, and I go and do them at the end. And they're a little bit of driving, but majority, same thing with plowing. Route density, they're right there. Okay, so that is one big piece of information, one tip I can give you guys, especially newer guys starting off, that I never had and I wished I did. It could have made things so much better, so much faster. As always, guys, you don't have to do it our way. You don't even have to listen to a word that I said in this. But if you want that edge that I haven't heard across any social media, that's a big thing that I can give you guys. I wish somebody would have gave me. I will see you guys on the next one.